Alright, so you're Hebrew. Now what? So you've come into the knowledge of who you are, you've read a bunch of books, you've watched a bunch of videos, you've seen some potent documentaries. Okay, you're a Hebrew. You accept it. You cleanse yourself from all the outward traditions, you ditch the Christmas tree, you stop celebrating Easter and Halloween and Valentine's Day and all of these other things, right? You fight to overcome your desire for pork and shellfish and all the unclean foods. Great. No more holidays, church, unclean food, check. You got that under control. You put some tassels on, some fringes, maybe even give yourself a Hebrew name. Then you tell everyone you know via Facebook or in person, lose some friends, separate from some family members because they want to live like quote-unquote pagans. Got it. Now you're about 4 to 6 months in and mad and upset that you've been lied to. You're mad at the church. Now you're ready to start teaching the Bible on Facebook and start your own ministry on YouTube. And stop. Don't do it. You don't know what you're doing. Alright, so you don't start teaching. You just watch teacher after teacher after teacher. You're essentially a foodie, right? You eat a little of this, a little of that, taste this, taste that. You don't even know what this is, but hey, they're Hebrew, so it must be good. So you're gonna eat that too. Eating off everyone's plate only to end up with digestive issues and not have a clue where it came from. But in person, you bounce from assembly to assembly, gather on the Shabbat because we're Israel and we love each other and we're family, so everyone is good, right? Stop it. Doesn't work that way. Or you're proud to say that you're returning to your heritage and the ways of your ancestors. I mean, hey, that sounds good, right? Your ancestors kept the law, and so now you're trying to keep the law, albeit with a Western approach, but you don't believe it's a Western approach, even though everything you do in action still aligns with Western thought. But because you're not a Christian anymore and you got a beard now and you go to church on Saturday instead of Sunday, oops. You go to an assembly or congregation on Saturday instead of Sunday. So that means you've returned to your heritage. Stop. Not quite. Or you're a Hebrew that decides to stay isolated because you have this divine connection to the Creator and He speaks to you but never corrects you on being out of order or point out your sin, but you know what you believe is right because, hey, you believe it, and everyone who doesn't believe like you is either stupid, gonna die, and going to hell, and everybody is wicked, and you're the only righteous one. Well, of course, you and those who agree with you. So you call people out because you believe wholeheartedly and crying loud and spare not. So you slander people, call them out, belittle them, demean them, disrespect, dishonor, and bash those who oppose your righteous doctrine because you are doing the will of the Father because you say you are. Stop it. You have no idea how far off you are from being righteous. Let me offer you an alternative path. One that I believe is more productive, functional, advantageous, and beneficial to you. If you are new or fairly new, listen up. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. From my own experience, there are a lot of Hebrews who are more lost now than when they first started this walk. Be careful. By their fruit you will know them. Take heed. By their fruit you will know them. But be honest, you are now in a land filled with landmines. No one has it all figured out. Some just have more figured out than others. However, the ones who have the most figured out are the least popular or the least known. The terms culture, religion, heritage, and truth are buzzwords in this walk. Most wouldn't know culture if it smacked them in the face with the Torah. Hebrew Christianity is a real thing, and some proudly run with that mantle, and others don't even know that that's what they are. There is a lot of confusion out here, a lot of well-intended people who are terrible at processing information and dangerously fast to speak. Their zeal is actually destroying people's faith. There's a lot of pseudo-culture out here, right? There's a lot of pseudo-culture. It looks cultural, it sounds cultural, but if you expect it, nah. It's matriarchy and Christianity all over again. Just a Hebrew outfit, some Hebrew garments, that's it. So here are my recommendations. Men, seek out proven elders, not your peer. Hear me clearly. Not your peer who you call an elder because he's been in the walk 2 more years than you. I'm talking real elders with fruit who are traceable. What does that mean? I'll explain in a moment. But that alone will save you so much time, headache, heartache, frustration by skipping the sea of mores, the sea of teachers, the sea of ministries, and begin to seek out specific things. Proven elders with fruit who are traceable. All right? At a minimum, seek out morim, which is more plural. Seek out morim with fruit who are accountable to someone. A lot of so-called mores are young these days, such as myself, and they should be under the leadership of a true elder. Here's an example. So, as I brought me up, I'll use myself. No better example than to examine myself. I am a more. My elder is Asa ben Yisrael. He's been in his walk 30 years. 30 years in this walk, never been a Christian. This is all he knows. His teacher at one point, not now, but at one point was Moreh Noriyahu. For years, he was studying under this man. My elder has an elder, and his name is Chief Elder Murray, a true patriarch whose life is a reflection of the book, whom we both love, admire, and deeply respect. Now, I don't speak for my elder, but I'm sure he would be in agreement with what I just said about the Chief Elder. Plus, there's a council of other elders who we are in fellowship with. I'm not dropping any more names for the sake of privacy, but this is not a game. With that said, TCA ain't for everyone. I don't try to be. I tried to be at one point at my last stop, and that didn't get me nowhere. So I learned the error in my ways. But if you look at that example that I just presented, seek something like that out. Not saying to seek me out or TCA, because once again, we're not for everyone. But seek leaders who are submitted and accountable to true elders, not peers. And women are not elders, nor does it profit you to label someone an elder and submit to them simply because of their age. Remember, I said elders with fruit, not just older men who awakened and now they're Hebrew, but they still operate in their Christian dogma. And the women should seek after seasoned women in this walk, women who have a covering, who are submissive to their husband, who carries themselves with respect and dignity, and will correct you sternly, but with genuine care for your condition, future, and well-being. Such an Ima is one Ima Gina, whom I also see and acknowledge as a true Ima in Israel, with more than enough observable fruit to teach the younger women. So seek her out or someone like her, all right? Examine these people's fruit. Examine their work. Do your due diligence. Find out what they believe and teach, and find out how have those things that they have been teaching have been beneficial in their own lives. Does the fruit of their teachings reflect in their own lives, right? How does their teaching positively affect those who follow it? But we're not talking just the spiritual mumbo jumbo or I feel closer to Yah type of stuff, because no. This Hebrew walk is both physical and spiritual, but just like in Christianity, the same mentality has been converted over, that the Hebrew walk too has a high degree of hyper-spiritualism in it. Everyone is still hearing from Yah and being told conflicting things. Everyone has this personal divine relationship, just like Christians claim. Out of order as heck, but got divine connections. What does the teachers produce? What do their teachings produce? So here's an example for clarification. Does your teacher teach that we need to put our doctrines aside and come together, but in action you see them constantly debating or separating from people who believe something different than they believe? That shows something. They're teaching one thing, but in reality it's playing out different in their life. Does he teach community living? People getting land together and living together, cohabitating, right? But have never done so. He has never experienced that, so he does not know what comes along with that. Does he teach living the Bible, but is clueless about agriculture and never grew food before? Does he teach warfare or something like that, or protection of the people, but has no tangible experience in actual combat or warfare? This experience will help you understand what it is you're projecting onto people. One should not teach things that they have not gained experience in. That is one of the greatest things that I've learned since having an elder. The opposite of this is why there is so much false doctrine and just flat out nonsensical information that's being presented to people, because people aren't living what they're teaching. They're reading it, they like it, but they're still not practicing what they're they're still not practicing what they preach. If a man's house is not in order, he should not be teaching or leading people. There are regions of the Bible that I, even as a Murray, that I will honestly admit that I read and study, but I do not teach on because I need more experience in that area. I just think that's the responsible thing to do, but hey, what do I know? Being responsible doesn't help you gain YouTube subscribers and YouTube views and stuff like that. So, Hebrew, be patient, watch people. Understand that you don't know it all and that you have not arrived. Know that submission to a teacher is important and should not be done haphazardly. Mega churches are not good. Mega Hebrew assemblies are not good. Be careful. Take heed to what I'm saying to you. A good tree produces good fruit and a bad tree produces bad fruit. Either make the tree good and its fruit good, or make the tree bad and its fruit bad. A tree is known by what? By its fruit. Examine it, right? Do not neglect the discourse of the wise and be conversant with their proverbs. From them you will learn instruction in how to minister to great men. And miss not the discourse of the aged. Miss not the discourse of the aged, for they also learned from their fathers, and from them you will learn understanding to give an answer in a time of need. The elders were very important in Israel. The elders are very important in African cultures. The elders transmitting information from one generation to another, showing the people how to live the way. Do not neglect the discourse of the wise. Shalom.